Hi everyone, hope you are all doing well. I welcome you again to my channel to talk about a new topic today. In today's video, we are going to cover on Swift MT messages. This topic is going to be extremely important for the business analyst, the payment operations teams, testers, production support analysts, banking domain learners, and anyone who is preparing for payment domain interviews. Because in this session, we are going to deep dive into the world of Swift empty messages. By the end of this video, you will understand what empty messages are, how the five block empty structure works, how to read key fields, why MT103 is important, how MT202 is different from MT202 cover, how statements like MT940 950 support reconciliation, how empty messages are used in investigation and customer complaints. So you do not need to memorize everything, just learn the logic, and once the logic is clear, the text or the fields will become much easier. So before we jump into the examples, let us first understand what an empty message usually is. So empty basically stands for the message type, and it is a legacy Swift message format used heavily in payment operations. Empty means message type, and this is how basically if we have to look at the format, if we have to interpret this format of empty messages, this is how it goes like. So it comes up with this two alphabet M and P, and then followed by this characters. So the first two characters basically, as you were saying, it is called MT, and the first digit basically represents or basically tells the category or the business family. For example, in case of MT103, here one basically means the customer payments and check. One means the category, and it belongs to the customer payments and check. The remaining digits 03 identifies the exact message type. That is, this is used for single customer credit transfer. That's why MT103 means single customer credit transfer. So think of MT like a highly structured banking form. Instead of writing a paragraph saying, please pay this customer this amount, the bank uses fixed text or fields. For example, there could be field like 20, 32A, 50, 57. Each tag has different meanings, and each tag represents different values. So we will get to know about this tags in the upcoming slides. Now many beginners get confused because the message looks very technical, but in simple words, every tag is just a level for a business field. Now even though the world is moving to ISO 20022 or into the MX format, empty knowledge is still very relevant. Why? Because many banks still have legacy flows, many investigation still refer to empty fields, and migration projects require empty to MX mapping. In real banking projects, you may receive recommend like map MT103 field 50K to the equivalent of ISO 20022 data structure. So if you do not understand the empty empty mapping, it will be, I mean, if you do not understand the empty message, the mapping to MX will become difficult. Now that we know what empty messages are, let us see how Swift groups them into categories. Okay, so Swift empty messages are grouped in terms of categories based on the business purpose of the message. So it has a total 9 categories, as you can see. Category 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 9 categories in total. So category 1 is for customer payments and check. For payment learners, the most important message that belonging to this category is MT103, which is used for your customer credit transfer. Category 2 is financial institution transfer. This is where MT202 and MT202 cover come in. This is extremely important for interbank fund movement and cover the payment flows. Category 3 is for treasury markets such as foreign exchange and money market confirmations. Category 4 is used for collections. Category 5 is used for securities. Category 6 is used for precious metals and syndications. Category 7 is used for documentary credits and guarantees. This is used heavily in trade finance mostly. Category 8 is for traveler check. This is more of legacy in nature. And category 9, this is actually cash management and customer status. This includes mostly MT900, MT910, 940, and 950. So for core payment, from the core payment perspective, we will be focusing mainly on the category 1, category 2, and category 9. Category 1 tells us about the customer payment. This tells us about the customer payment. Category 2 tells us about the bank to bank um, payment, and category 9 tells us about your confirmation statement and reconciliation. So once we know the category, the next step is to understand the structure inside an empty message. So every Swift message is wrapped inside a 5 block empty structure. So every Swift empty message is wrapped inside a 5 block structure. So think of an empty message like a courier package. You know the courier package, right? So think of empty message like a courier package. The outside envelope tells the system where the message is coming from. That means it will tell you who is the sender, where it is going, so who is the receiver, and how it should be handled. Inside the envelope, it is the actual business instruction or the business body. You can say the content of the letter. So we have 5 blocks basically: block 1, block 2, block 3, block 4, and block 5. Block 1 is called basic header block. So it contains the technical sender details such as application information, application ID, the sender bank identifier code, session, and sequence. Block 2 is your application header. It tells the message type. It tells the direction, who is the receiver, the time, and the priority of that message. Block 3 is the user header. This is optional, by the way, and may contain reference like your field 108 and field 108, or also called UETR in field 121. Block 4 is the text block. So this is the most important part. So block 4 is where payment information lives. This is where we see this text like 20, 23B, 32, 50, 57, 59, 71. And block 5 is a trailer block. It contains your system information, authentication, checksum, and control related information. Block 4 is the main area of analysis for our topic of discussion. So if you are investigating a payment, you will mostly read the block 4 of the empty message. Okay. Now that the structure is clear, let us focus on the most famous empty message, which is MT103. So whenever a customer asks a bank to send money um, to a beneficiary through another bank, MT103 is commonly used in the traditional Swift world. So in simple words, MT103 is a customer payment instruction. MT103 is a customer payment instruction. So it tells the receiving bank basically, or the payment chain, who is sending the money. That is MT103 basically tells who is sending the money, who should receive it, how much is being sent. What currency is involved, what the payment is for, that is the purpose of the payment, and what are the charges involved. So basically, within MT103, these are the information that are there. So think of it like a formal payment instruction letter between banks, but in a structured format. So if a customer payment is delayed, MT103 is usually the first message you inspect for pair, for beneficiary, amount, currency, and the charge details. So just keep in mind that MT103 is the customer instruction. Okay, now let us now read a simple MT103 and understand what we should notice first. So this is the part of the message. Do not worry if this looks complex. We will break it into groups. So first we have the, so this has been basically we can categorize in terms of this group: identity, money, parties, routing, and purpose and charges. So first is the identity. So basically these two fields helps to identify, I mean basically represents the identity of the message. For example, field 20 represents the transaction reference number. This helps the bank trace the payment. Then field 23B basically shows the banking operation code. For MT103, it's usually credit, that is credit transfer. Second group is money. So these two field basically involves money into it, and third group is party. So this tags or this field basically talk about the parties that are involved. For example, the beneficiaries, the sender, the beneficiary bank, the sender bank, and all. For this routing, this shows the correspondent banks which are involved in the chain. Fifth is the purpose and charges. For example, field 70 gives about tells about the remittance information. Field 71A tells about how the charges are going to be handled. Field 72 tells about the instruction between the banks. Now let us go field by field, starting with the identity and the amount. So let's talk about the field 20. So this field also called as transaction reference. So this is very important for tracing, reconciliation, and customer support. If the customer calls and asks for status, this reference become one of the key identifiers. Field 23B basically is a bank operation code. For MT103, it's generally CRED. CRED means your credit transfer. Then we have field 2060. This is an optional field, and this indicates the purpose or the transaction type. This indicates the purpose or transaction type of the message. Then we have field 32A. This is one of the most important fields in MT103. It combines three things. One is the value date, currency, and the amount. So you must be wondering what is value date. So value date is a specific date on which the money settles between the banks and is credited to the beneficiary account. So this is the format that it follows. In case of that, it follows YYMMDD. It follows the ISO currency format and the amount with comma as a decimal separator. Then we have the field 33B. This is the instructed amount. It becomes useful when instructed currency and settlement currency are different, especially in the foreign exchange related situations. Once we know the amount, we need to understand the parties and the routing chain. So this field tells us who is involved in the payment chain. So we have field 5050AFK. This identifies the ordering customer. In simple word, this is the pair. This particular field basically identifies the pair or the originator of the payment. This field is AML critical or anti-money laundering critical, because banks must know who is sending the money. Then we have the field 52A. This shows the sender's correspondent. Sorry, the field 52A. This shows the ordering institution, especially where the sender is acting on behalf of another bank. Then we have 53A or B. This is the sender's correspondent. Think of it as the bank where the sender holds an account for the currency, often a nostro account. Right. Then we have field 54A. This is the receiver's correspondent. Field 57A is very important because it identifies the account with the institution, or in simple words, you can say this is the beneficiary bank. So field 57A is the beneficiary bank. Then we have field 59. 59 is the beneficiary customer. It tells about it includes the instruction, or it includes the information about the final recipient of the money. In banking operations, if payment is routed incorrectly or the beneficiary bank cannot identify the account, teams inspect this party and the routing fields. Now let us look at the fields that often create customer disputes. That is a remittance and your charges. So these fields explain your why the payment was made and who pays the charges. So field 70 is the remittance information. In simple words, this tells the beneficiary why the money was sent. Okay, and it may contain the invoice, it may contain the invoice number, the payment description or reference. For example, if Infosys is paying Microsoft for IT services, the invoice reference may appear in this field 70. Field 71A is details of charges. So this is very common in the interview and operations topic. So there are three options involved: SHA, hour, and BAN. So SHA means share. SHA means share. In this case, the sender pays their own bank's charges, and the beneficiary pays charges from their side. Hour means the sender pays all the charges, so the beneficiary should receive the full amount. Then BAN means the beneficiary bears all the charges, so deduction may happen from the payment amount. Then we have field 71F. This shows the sender's charges. Field 72 is sender to receiver bank information, often code like REC or INS. This is not a place to write casual customer notes. Okay. Okay, now let's try to zoom into one of the most AML sensitive fields in the MT103. That is field 50. So field 50 basically identifies your ordering customer, that is who is sending the money. So there are different variants. For example, we have 50A, 50F, 50K. So 50A is actually big based. 50F is structured and preferred for AML because it separates the account number, it separates the name, it separates the address and country in a structured format. Then we have 50K. 50K is a free format. It is very common because it is less structured. It can be harder to screen and interpret. So think of it like filling a customer address form. If every field has a fixed box, name, address, country, screening becomes easier. But everything is written in one free text area. Mistakes and ambiguity increase. So incomplete originator information can trigger ML alerts, correspondent rejection, manual repair, or compliance review. Good originator data improves your screening, reduces repair, and supports the regulatory compliance. Now that customer payments are clear, let us move to bank-to-bank transfer. That is MT202. MT202 is used for a financial institution transfer. That is, funds move between the institution. In simple words, it's a bank-to-bank transfer message. It may be used for your nostro funding, treasury transfer, liquidity movement, and interbank settlement between the financial institution. MT202 is not similar to MT202 is not same as MT103. This is where many beginners make mistakes. The key difference is that MT103 is a customer payment instruction, whereas MT202 is your interbank transfer. So if someone asks which message contains the customer pair and beneficiary details, your answer should your answer should usually be MT103, not MT202. So think of MT103 as customer wants to pay someone, and think of MT202 as if bank is moving money between banks. Okay, and this is how the MT202 structure typically looks like. It has the field 20, 21, 32, 52, 53, 54, 58, 72. So here if you notice, we don't have 50 and 59. 50, you remember, this is this information basically includes about or talks about sender, and 59 is for your receiver. So there is no customer information involved in this MT202 format. Okay, now let us understand a very important variation, MT202 cover. So earlier, banks sometimes use MT202 as a cover funding message related to customer payment. But the problem was that MT202 did not show the underlying customer details, as we have seen in that previous message format. We don't see the field 50, we don't see field 59 in MT202. So this created an AML problem. Um, uh, Intermediary banks processing the funds could not clearly see who the real ordering customer and the beneficiary are. So MT202 cover came to the picture. MT202 solves this gap. It is used when a separate cover payment is sent for an underlying customer payment. In simple words, MT103 carries the customer instruction, and MT202 cover carries the cover fund, but also includes key underlying customer details so that intermediate banks can screen the transaction. So MT202 is pure interbank, and MT202 cover is cover funds for an underlying customer payment. Let us now see how MT103 and MT202 cover um, work together in one cover payment scenario. So in a cover payment, there are two legs. Okay, one is the instruction leg. In cover payment, there are two legs. One is your instruction leg, and the other one is your funding leg. Let us take the example shown here. ICICI Bank is the ordering bank or the sending bank. It sends an MT103 instruction towards the beneficiary side, for example, the Dowsy Bank. At the same time, the funds may move through a correspondent chain as well. For example, the JP Morgan. It sends to the JP Morgan side using MT202 cover. So there are two legs. So this is your instruction leg, and this is your funding leg. So MT103 tells the beneficiary side about the customer payment, and MT202 cover basically moves the cover funds to the correspondent road. Many beginners get confused here and think these are two separate payments. In business terms, they are part of one payment story. The connection happens through the references and underlying customer details, especially fields like 21, 50, and 59. Now, after payments are sent, banks also need statement messages for reconciliation. So that brings us to MT940 and MT950. So MT940 is usually customer account statement message. For example, a bank may send an MT940 to a corporate customer so that the corporate customer can reconcile its account activity. Then MT950 is used when, in case of bank-to-bank context, especially for Nostro account statements. A bank may receive MT950 from its correspondent bank to understand its balance and entries. Then we have MT910. This basically confirms that account has been credited, and MT900 basically confirms that account has been debited. These messages are very important for your cash management, reconciliation, um, and Nostro analysis. Okay, now let us read a simple MT950 example to see how statement information is structured. So start with field 20. This is the statement reference. Okay, we have field 25. This is the shows the account number being reported. Then we have field 28C. This is the statement number and sequence. We have field 60F. This basically represents the shows the opening balance. It tells us whether the balance is credit or debit, the date, currency, and the amount. Field 61 is the transaction line. This is where your individual debit or credit entries are shown. Field 86 is your supplementary transaction information, and field 62F gives the closing balance. So in simple words, MT950 helps operation teams answer what was the opening balance in, and what transaction has happened, and what is the closing balance. Okay. Uh, Now let us move from statements to investigation. So what happens when a payment needs clarification? Because payment operations do not stop after the payment is sent. Sometimes bank need to ask questions. So then we have MT195, MT196. In this case, MT195 is used to query. It may be used to ask about a payment, about a request cancellation, or raise an operational investigation. Then payment MT196 is the answer to the query. It may say accepted, rejected, pending, or provide explanation. Field 21 is very important because it cross references the original payment or the related party. So we have field 21 in MT195 as well, and we have field 21 in MT196. So through this field, they basically cross reference each other. Um, in this example, MT195 is asking. In this example, MT195 is asking to cancel a payment because it was duplicate, and MT196 answers that the cancellation request is accepted. Now keep in mind that a cancellation request does not automatically mean the payment is cancelled. The counterparty must process and confirm the outcome. Now let us look at a real world sanctions screening case. So here London exports. Here we have London Exports Limited at Barclays wants to send USD to Al Baraka Trading at Emirates NBD. Now JP Morgan here is is in the payment chain and screens the parties in MT103. So the ordering customer is screened. The ordering institution is the ordering customer is also screened. The ordering institution is screened. The account with the institution is screened. The beneficiary customer is screened. So it is the JP Morgan screens all the parties. The beneficiary name triggers a possible sanction match. Okay, so JP Morgan places the payment on hold, and compliance reviews it. After review, they determine that it's a false positive. That means the name looks similar to a sanctioned entity, but it is not actually the same entity. So the payment is released, and the beneficiary is credited. So sanction screening happen at every bank in the chain, not just the originating bank. Now let us see common field errors that can create delays, rejections, and customer complaints. We have field 20. Duplicate difference can cause the message to be rejected or held for review. Field 32. So wrong date format can cause a format error. The date, remember the date format is always YYMMDD, not DDMMYY. Another dangerous issue in 32A is comma usage. In Swift, comma is a decimal separator. So if you have to write 8,000 rupees 00 paisa, you have to write it as 8,000 comma 00 in empty format, in the empty word. So a wrongly formatted amount can also be interpreted incorrectly. Then we have field 50. The incomplete name or address can also create AML failure or correspondent rejection. We have 57A. Wrong BIC can route the payment to the wrong bank. 59. Missing or wrong account number may result in the beneficiary bank being unable to credit the funds. Field 71A. Wrong charge code can create unexpected deductions and customer complaints. Then we have field 72. If wrong code format is entered, it can cause the correspondent to ignore or misinterpret the instructions. Then let's look at the confusions and the issues in the MT202. So one common issue is confusing MT202 with MT202 cover. MT202 is a pure interbank transfer. MT202 cover is linked to a cover payment for an underlying customer transaction. Another issue is missing the link to the underlying customer payment. If the cover message cannot be connected back to the customer instruction, investigation becomes very difficult. In investigation messages, another common problem is quoting the wrong original reference. If field 21 points to the wrong payment, the receiving bank may not know what are you asking about. So remember, sending a cancellation request does not mean the payment is cancelled. Counterparty must process and agree. Now let us apply this knowledge to a very common customer complaint. So this is one of the most common payment complaints. For example, I sent USD 10,000, but beneficiary received less. So when you hear this kind of complaint, do not immediately assume something went wrong. First, check the charge model. Is it share or is it beneficiary? If the field 71A is shared, charges are shared. The sender pays their bank charges and beneficiary may receive less because intermediary receiving bank charges may apply. If field 71A is banned, the beneficiary bears the charges, so deductions are expected. If field 71A is the sender is expected to bear all the charges, so that so if the beneficiary receives less, further investigation may be needed. Then check the routing. Like fields like your 53, 54 and 57. This can show the correspondent path. Also check whether the payment went through your serial or cover flow. Finally, inspect the statement entries and fee deduction. So in simple words, MT103 looks like a detective map. Okay, and with this we come to the end of today's video on Swift MT messages. Thanks for watching. So if you are new to Swift payments, do not worry. If all the tags or fields feel overwhelming at first, the trick is to read them step by step. First, understand the structure, then identify the block, then read the fields, then connect the field to the business meaning. If this video has helped you understand the Swift MT messages in a simple way, please do press the like button, subscribe to my channel, and share it with anyone who is learning payments, who is into banking operations, or working as business analyst, or in a Swift payment project. So till then, see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.